be it on purpose or by search, somehow you found your way to this channel where we celebrate the 80s, or I celebrate the 80s, and you join in. The purpose of this is, I'm always searching for something new on YouTube. And for whatever reason, I always found myself gravitating back to the videos of the 80s. And that was my time, that was my era. I won't go into my age at this point, but you get the gist that I'm kind of old at this point. I'm doing this YouTube channel to celebrate those times and also maybe educate those that might have missed out on some of these things that we cherished back in the day. Back when Tom Cruise wasn't crazy and TikTok was just a sound that your clock made. Now, everything's kind of out there. Everything is on video. So when you want to look for something from the 80s, you actually have to search for it. If you want to find something from today, all you have to do is turn around. Somebody's on the phone next to you recording. So it's a little bit harder, but I'm here to help. I'm here to talk about what made us tick way back when movies weren't digital, when we were still listening to tapes, actually switching from 8-track to tape, and then toward the end we went to CD. So I got to experience a few things that maybe the younger generation didn't get to. I also plan on doing other things as well. I mean, this is probably going to be more of a vlog than anything else, but it is going to be surrounding the 80s. It'll be, this day, 80-something. There have been a few TV shows that kind of do it along those lines. And maybe we'll talk about the day's events of, that specific day in the 80s. I don't know, but I'm open to suggestions as well. This is me starting a YouTube channel from scratch. Never had experience in this before, but I've always wanted to give it a try. People say I have a voice for radio. I don't know so much about the face, but they say I got a voice for radio. So maybe you'll enjoy listening to me, maybe you won't, but for whatever reason, you're here today. So, maybe I'll have some valuable content, maybe something of interest. Maybe you'll just click and go through, but I do thank you for being here, whatever time you decide to share with me. A little bit about myself, again, I grew up in the 80s. I've always been kind of a movie buff, not so much TV, but I mean, I did watch a lot of TV in the 80s. I mean, we grew up to 3 channels, and toward the late 80s, we started getting a few more if you were lucky to have cable. Or you had that nifty little UHF knob to try to get in a few more channels, like PBS or something like that. Something that really offered nothing that you wanted to watch at the time. And then, of course, there was the scrambled channels, but we won't get into that. But during that time, parents didn't worry so much about their kids. We were allowed to ride our bikes at night. We didn't have helmets. Now that's unheard of. A parent will be locked up if your child isn't wearing a helmet while they are on their bike. My toys, for most part was, playing with sticks, running around with my imagination. And my kids, and I have 3 of them now, they all have a tablet. They have TV. They've got thousands of programs that they can search for at any given time, and they all know how to search already. My 5-year-old is very accustomed to finding a program that she wants on her tablet. I've got a 5-year-old and I've got 2 7-year-olds. Been happily married for 22 years now. Just celebrated an anniversary. So, yeah. So we're doing pretty well. But, I think it was time to try something else, to get in front of people. Maybe talk about something that somebody hasn't seen already 1,500 times on YouTube. Who knows? I've got some things to say. I've got opinions. Maybe I won't give them all, because in this day and age, there are quite a few things that we don't want to talk about, that are taboo, that are going to cause issues. so to speak. So I won't be talking politics or anything like that. Maybe I'll talk politics from the 80s, but I won't be talking any politics current day. We don't have to talk about these things that we're currently going through. This is more of an escape. It's something that I needed. I've been in a career path for it's 30 years now. I've been in healthcare. So this gives me another outlook, something else to put my energy into because, when you're in healthcare for as long as I am, it does take a lot out of you. You're caregiving constantly. So here, I get to talk more about what makes me tick as opposed to always, trying to be there for the customer, the client, and where we're doing more of the listening because we have to talk about, what's going on with them. Here, I can talk about what's going on with me, what makes me tick, what's happening, this day in the 1980s. We can talk about movies as well. I plan on talking about a few of the favorites from the 80s, and there are quite a few of those. Let's just say that I've seen a few of these movies, more than 10 times. If you haven't seen Aliens, I more than suggest you watching that movie. That's one of my favorites. That's one of the favorites of my wife as well. We've seen that quite a few times. But I'm not going to give them all away now. You'll have to come back to hear of anything else that I might want to share with you that maybe you haven't seen. Because if you were born in the year 2000 and later, this is all old news. I mean, this is like me watching black and white when I was growing up in the 80s. It was unheard of. I said, no way, I'm not going to watch black and white. That's ridiculous. Now I actually will check it out. I'll check out a black and white movie every now and then because maybe it hasn't been one that I've seen. But then I also look for more obscure movies that maybe I've missed during the 1980s. And there have been quite a few of those actually as I've been searching, as I've been researching what I'm going to present to you while I'm working on this channel. Now I'm also a techie, which, goes with the territory. I mean, if you're going to do something like this, you probably have to have a little idea of how to operate a computer and push the on and off button of a computer, turning on the monitor. I can operate a webcam to a certain degree. If there's anything that you're noticing that is difficult, and you're not hearing me, or there's a setting that maybe I'm not using, feel free, share down below. I'll be reading comments. Now, I'm not one for reading troll comments, so I won't be responding to the trolls. Thank you very much. We've all had plenty of those over the years, and I don't have time for that. So if you want to troll, that's fine. You can, but I'm not going to answer your troll pleas for help. There are other channels that are out there that you can find that. Here, we're focused more on, fun things, happiness. We've seen way too much sadness in the last few years that the last thing I need to do is come on here and start preaching more doom and gloom or be sad. I don't need to be sad any more than I already have been. These last few years have been pretty miserable for most of us. So what we need is, an escape. Movies have always been an escape for me. Going back to the 80s, talking about the 80s, looking at the 80s is an escape for me. When I lived in the 80s, I didn't think it was all that great. I lived in a small town in Maine, and let's just say that we didn't have anything to do. We would walk around town searching for things to do. But there really wasn't much of anything. We didn't have streaming. I had a TV. We had one TV, and it was maybe a 25-inch TV. I don't know. It had all those little lines on it. You couldn't make out certain things. The sound was horrid. You had two choices of things to watch during the day. So if you didn't like what was on, you either sat there and you watched it, or you actually got off your butt and you went outside and you did something else. Which is why most of us spent a lot of our time outside doing things until the Nintendo came around, and that was a whole new story. But that will be something else that I kind of go over as we go into future topics on this channel. But for now, I'm just introducing myself. So I'm Lawrence Axel, and it is my family name. It's not a stage name, so please don't think I'm trying to be pretentious or anything like that. I just haven't included my last name. But I've been let's see, I've been around YouTube for quite some time. I've never had like I said, I've never had a channel. I've always watched. I've been very familiar with broadcasters and what's going on, and I will continue to do that and support YouTube in any way that I can. So I just hope that you feel the compulsion to support me, or maybe not compulsion, but maybe just something you see that you like, that you just say, hey, I'd like to see that guy again, or well, maybe I'll just push this button and I'll hit this little notification bell thing, and maybe I'll never see him again, but at least I've helped him on the algorithm, and he'll pop up somewhere in some obscure corner of YouTube. And that's where I've been most of my time when I'm on YouTube, is in the obscure corners. In mainstream really does never got to me. I'm never watching those popular things. I've never cared about watching a Minecraft video or anything like that. So if you're like me, then you might enjoy what I have to offer. So during this time, like I said, I'm growing this from scratch. I'm really, wanting to see what I can do. I'll also be sharing some of this information with you just in case you're thinking about doing the same thing as me. Maybe you say, hey, this looks easy. Maybe I can get in front of the screen and I can do the same thing. I'm more than happy to, have these videos up there if you can make use out of them. I mean, I'm no expert. This is all something new for me. So I'm just going to be sharing what's going on, how my channel is growing, and what I'm doing to help support it as I'm moving forward. I mean, this isn't my full-time job. This is definitely a part-time situation. If ever came that I enjoyed this a lot, I would make it full time. But for right now, I'm just doing this to, just for something to be out there to talk, something for the girls to look at one of these days so they can see kind of a video diary of their dad. So maybe it's out there and they get to, see what made me tick at one time or another. So hopefully that's something that appeals to you as well. Let's see. I started this channel. I started putting videos up of some 80s broadcasts, so kind of get people interested to see what was happening in my mind, something that maybe I was watching when I was younger. So there are a few things, there are a few commercial compilations. There's the TV show Double Dare, so I'm also trying to be very careful not to violate any copyright laws or anything like that. So there's not a whole lot that I'm just going to post and say, here you go. And also, these things aren't just currently being monetized. So there's that. So I'm not just throwing things up there thinking, oh, let's see if it sticks. I just wanted people to see kind of a background of what makes me tick, and that some of those things are what I watch way back when. I also, like I said, I'm an avid techie, so I'll be doing some tech reviews. Anything up and coming, something that I might purchase, tech for the kids. That is really important for us because we are constantly looking for things that our kids can have that are safe, wearable tech maybe. So we have a tracking device, because everybody wants to track their kids. So maybe that will be one of the first things that I do. We also have some things that we're doing around the house. So, I'll post some of those things. But I'm open for suggestions, and I'm open for Q&A as well. I'm not going to come on here and be a closed book. I'm definitely going to open myself up and share a little bit. So, again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to comment down below. And I always hated hearing that. I thought, geez, that is really, really cheesy. I mean, everybody says it, but I mean it. It's nice to get some comments. Maybe somebody wants to ask a question, and I can answer it and be honest about it. Who wants to watch someone lie about anything? We see that enough these days, and some of those TikTokers out there can definitely understand what I'm talking about. A lot of these lives seem very fake, but this is very real. This is my office. Actually, it's a shared office. The piano over here, I don't know how to play. We got it because we thought, hey, one of these days we'll learn how to play. But I can hit a few keys on it, but that's about it. The plan is, to get some more kind of decor that more suits the channel. Some more '80s things to put back there. There's no telling. Again, this is another one of those things that I'm open to suggestions. So feel free. If it's going to be a channel that I'm growing, I'm growing with you, the new subscribers. Please, give me hints, give me ideas, advice, anything. I'm not looking for any freebies, any handouts, or anything like that. I'm just looking to, be a positive influence in what is right now just feels kind of negative out there. And if you look, you'll find it. You'll find somebody that's positive. You'll find a few positive people uh, to look at, to talk to. So I'll leave it at that. This is, just a little bit about me. I plan on putting out a couple videos a week. Whether or not it's just about me or it's about something else, again, it will be something that's kind of revolving around the '80s for the most part, unless I do some, other tech videos, things like that. But I also want to make sure that you understand that I will take any suggestions about a video that you might find interesting. If it doesn't even revolve around the '80s, maybe it's the '90s. I mean, I still grew up in the '90s, but the '80s are still one of my favorite time periods. And also, what I'll be doing is, with any '80s movies, there are always those memorable lines. Today, this was kind of my ode to Wall Street. Greed is good. Greed is very good. Maybe not so much now. We're not looking at it like the same way it was back in the '80s. I mean, excess, materialism. Those were the foundations. Maybe we're looking a little bit differently now, but that was from Wall Street. And my line for you at the close of my videos, and let's see if you can figure out where this came from. It's not just from a movie. I mean, it does have origins from the past, but I want you to remember, wherever you go, there you are.